everybody. This is Charmaine Miller, your running partner on this journey of continual learning and personal growth. I'm ecstatic that you're back and still excited about producing a better you through learning and growing. I believe today's topic is going to make you raise some eyebrows and perhaps give me that deer in the headlights kind of look. That's because today I want to challenge you to embrace and learn from conflict. You heard me correctly. I want you to come alive and thrive when you experience friction right there in your office, friction right in the staff room, or even friction in your personal life. You mean to tell me this information can help with relationships too? Yup, it sure can. But let's begin with getting on the same page with what conflict is. The Business Dictionary defines conflict as friction or opposition resulting from actual or perceived differences or incompatibilities. It may have negative as well as positive characteristics. Did you catch that? The opposition may be actual or even perceived, meaning it's in someone's mind. Wow. Now, the concise Oxford Dictionary, English Dictionary, defines conflict as a state of mind in which a person experiences a clash of opposing feelings or needs. Now, the first thing I would like for you to notice from these definitions is that conflict can be both internal and external to an individual. That means that in the workplace, there will be visible signs of external conflict, like disagreements, disputes between colleagues. But similarly, there will be people who are wrestling internally with perspectives that don't match with those of the organization, or they don't even match with other coworkers for that matter. Can you imagine the conflict that would ensue if someone's perspective is, let's say, come to work just to collect a paycheck, and yours might be to do all you can by any means you can for as long as you can? Yeah, friction indeed. It is worth noting that many people avoid conflict at all costs. But like Cheryl Richardson eloquently puts it, if you avoid conflict just to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself. And this is not the way you want to live at all. Furthermore, if you're in a supervisory position, you have to realize that leadership and conflict, they go hand in hand. There's no way to avoid it. The important thing, though, is to remember Max Lucado's assertion that conflict is inevitable, but combat, that's optional. So don't wage a war, okay? Conflict in the workplace comes in so many forms. It could be something like disagreements over who is responsible for individual tasks, tasks being left for others to complete. Yeah, no, but that task being completed maybe to a poor standard. You might have conflict coming from verbal and physical abuse, that bullying and harassment. You might even have frustration over perceived favoritism by certain leaders, complaints about management style, leadership styles, difference in communication and that kind of thing. Conflict even comes out from colleagues complaining about each other. Yeah, even colleagues complaining about organizational policies and procedures, staff lateness. I've even seen where you have a lot of conflict coming from that blame culture. Yeah, between each other, colleagues blaming each other for things going wrong, but also managers blaming staff for problems and failures, but taking credit when things go well. Yeah, I say there's so many different forms of conflict, and sometimes a lot of it is personality clashes and character clashes as well. But these are just a few of the issues that come about that create serious friction at work. However, it is also worth noting that there are times where conflict can be highly productive if it is properly managed, though. For example, some of the most creative schools, creative companies and organizations, they actually encourage a level of conflict because they believe that adversarial thinking enables innovation. But it is all in how conflict is addressed. So today, let me give you 3 things you would learn to do when you embrace conflict. This is the reason why I'm advocating that you embrace conflict. First of all, you would learn to listen effectively. Without a doubt, the key to successfully resolving any conflict is the ability to listen. If your only desire is to win, then you won't hear a thing the other person is saying. You can't be defensive and dominating with no patience and discipline to control your impulse to speak. In order to resolve issues or even to have successful relationships, we must put aside ourselves and our thoughts so that we can truly listen to others. Again, I'm not talking about the kind of listening where we are just waiting for our turn to jump in. No. That's conversational listening. I'm not talking even about the surface listening, where you're half here and half there. I'm advocating active listening. Active listening that calls for focused attention, where you have to turn off your internal dialogue and really tune in. You see, the most basic and powerful way to connect to another person is to listen. Just listen. Perhaps the most important thing we ever give each other is our attention. All right? So when we do, we gain access, believe it or not, to information. Then that information is what we need to help resolve the conflict and, of course, make better, smarter decisions. So listen. The second thing you would learn from conflict is to look. You would learn to look for new ideas. Now, you may not notice this, but when thoughts are expressed during a conflicting situation, our perspective becomes shaped against the ideas of the other party. Now, this is because, like Harding says, conflict is the beginning of consciousness. We allow someone else to fine-tune the truth that we are communicating. Hearing another person's perspective aids in shaping and clarifying our own. Sometimes, this enlightenment confirms our belief, but many times it opens our eyes to new perspectives. But you have to be poised to look. You can't be dogmatic and egocentric. You must be open. When you are, you will see that conflict can be an effective tool for generating new solutions and fostering deeper agreements. You just gotta look. And finally, if you decide to embrace conflict, it will teach you to lean. Yeah, lean in and be flexible. Conflict resolution requires us to give and take, This means that we not only have others adjusting to our way of thinking, but we also need to adjust to their perspectives too. This calls for flexibility that is birthed out of humility and openness. Sometimes we just have to eat what I like to call a humble pie. Swallow our pride and give in a bit. This is because the goal of resolving conflict in relationship is not victory or defeat. It's reaching understanding and letting go of our need to be right. We can't thrive on trying to always be right, because that means our focus is on proving the other person wrong instead of understanding their perspective. This makes us out to be a spoiled brat, a spoiled brat who is contentious, controlling, and egotistical, none of which are qualities of a great leader, mind you. So lean in and be flexible. The next time you encounter conflict at school, in your department, in your office, or even at home, don't keep avoiding it. Instead, approach it as an opportunity to listen effectively, to look for new ideas, and to lean in and be flexible. Listen, if you found this video helpful, take a few seconds to share it with a coworker or a friend. If you haven't done so as yet, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Proactive Skill Developers. We always appreciate hearing from you, so leave a message while you're there. In the meantime, let's choose to keep learning and growing, because what we learn becomes a part of who we are. And like Einstein said, once we stop learning, we start dying. So, never stop learning, because life, as you know, never stops teaching. Until next time, to your success.